Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's virtual plant clinic. My name is Bill Lester. I'm with University of Florida Extension Service here in Hernando County, and I just flew into this broadcast from
Yes,
another
you
online
did.
meeting. So
Exactly a minute and a half ago, he showed up here. I
yes, but I
was
showed good time management. I wasn't late.
correct. I was trying to quickly come up with what do I talk about until Bill shows up.
It would have been just fine. So if I seem a little scattered for the first 2 or 3 minutes, just because I'm a little scattered for the first couple minutes. So
It's all right. We're used to that.
yes, we are. And hopefully Monique is used to it also. Good morning, Monique. How are you? So I'm here with our Hernando County Florida Friendly Landscape Coordinator, Lily Browning.
I'm
The
back.
meeting, the meeting I was at included Jim Ball, and we all had to introduce ourselves. And he is the Master Gardener Manager, not coordinator, but manager.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was kind of jealous. I want to be manager too, but I'm just a
I don't know
coordinator,
if
I
you're,
guess.
no. It sounds like an impossible title to me. It's like
So,
you're herding cats, isn't it?
well, no matter what title you give yourself, it is still herding cats.
Yes.
So, are you the FFL coordinator here or
I
manager or
No, I'm the coordinator. I'm the Florida Friendly Landscaping Program Coordinator. I'm just a
okay.
coordinator. I try to coordinate Florida Friendly Landscaping programs. That is
You
what
should
I
just
do.
change it to Emperor and just put it everywhere. Put it on the Facebook
Um,
and put it on your email signature and see if
the
your boss
people,
notices.
the people at my work who aren't quite clear what I do, all the engineers and people who work for the water department. One of them introduced me to somebody as president of the Tree Huggers, which I was like, I like that one. I'm going to keep that one.
President, that sounds good.
Yes, president of the Tree Huggers. That's pretty good. I'm going to stick with that one. I might get that like on a thing you put on your desk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't have one of those on my desk.
Huh.
I I, I got stacks of paper and a bucket of dirt and all kinds of other stuff around here, but yeah, I don't have a little, what's that called? A little name
Placard,
plaque.
placard, name thing. Yes.
Yeah,
So
I need to get one. I need to think of a good title to give myself though.
I've heard some titles, but you might not want to use that.
I've heard a few also, so hey guys, for anybody viewing us live, if you have any lawn and garden questions, vegetable gardening, irrigation, water concerns, anything, just go ahead and put them in the chat and I will see them ding on my screen right over there and I'll click on them. And sometimes I'll click on them and Lily's clicking on them at the same time. So if your comment goes on and off and on and off, it's because we're fighting over it.
Because we're fighting to be managers of your comments.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have two managers instead of one. Good morning, Cindy. How are you from beautiful Pinellas County?
It is, well, I haven't really been out there, but it felt nice and cool when I let the dogs out
It was
today.
chilly,
Yeah.
50s.
Hmm.
So barely jacket weather and should be beautiful by now. I'm sure it's gone up a couple degrees. So
Yes, quite nice. Um, yeah, I haven't really been out because I'm under house arrest, so working from home the rest of the week. Um,
I've been there. It happened to
yeah,
me, what, a year or so ago. I wish it would happen again.
you don't want it to happen again.
No, they say you can't come to the office for a couple weeks. You can just work from home.
Yeah,
Cool.
yes.
I did this and I
Mhm.
can do this. I can sit there on Zoom and StreamYard and everything else all day long from my house. I just have different stuff in the background, and every once in a while you catch a glimpse of the big husky walking by.
There you go. Yeah. Yes, well, it finally caught me. The COVID finally caught me after what, this 2.5 years, something like that. It's the first time I've had it, and I was in bed last week during this, but it didn't last long, only a couple of days, and we are recuperating, so I should be off of house arrest soon.
Very happy to hear that.
Yes.
And we have a question on here. Hey, quit fighting me for that.
I didn't touch it. I didn't do anything this time.
I must have double clicked. So
yes.
we have a question from Bassam about what time to harvest the sugarcane. And you have it growing in your yard, don't you? You gave me sugarcane before.
Are you talking to me or Bassam?
Yes. No, you. You, Lily, coordinator.
I do not have it in my yard. I have a neighbor who's originally from the Caribbean who has grown it, but I haven't gotten any from him in the past year or so. But he would grow it, and he would then stick cans of it at all of our doors. And I would take some to work to share it. Some people, just plan to. This one lady, originally from Puerto Rico, she knew, like, they'd have a way of just chewing it, and getting the nice sugar from it.
You can.
Putting it in drinks, things like that. Then I had a couple people who actually planted it, used the segments to plant. You lay it down and plant it up, and they still have crops from those pieces I gave them. Now, what they do with it, I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure that, well, you can water your edible garden whenever you want, but I think it probably requires a lot of water, I would assume.
Well, during the summer, we get a lot of rain, and sugarcane doesn't mind the heat, the rain, humidity, everything else. It's a tropical Caribbean plant.
Mm-hmm.
I would think that in this area, you're going to be harvesting sugarcane right around now. I saw on Facebook somewhere they were doing outdoor presentation or event around pressing sugarcane and harvesting sweet potatoes, I think, both of which grow in the summer, and you're going to harvest around now. So sugarcane, you have to run through a press, a thing that squeezes the heck out of the shoots and squeezes the sugar juice out of it. But you can take it and cut up small pieces. Kids apparently in the Caribbean chew on it. You cut it into thinner pieces and use it as a little stir stick for your rum-based adult beverages. Pretty classy. So there are things that you could do with sugarcane. I would think that here in Central Florida now is going to be a good time to harvest it.
Okay, looks like you got several questions popping up. And
a whole bunch of people. Sorry to hear that you're under the weather.
I'm getting much better. But thank you. I may not sound, but believe me, I do sound a lot better than I did.
Well, the person running the last meeting I was in was just recovering from the flu, and she still sounded terrible. She sounded bad. She said, I didn't have COVID. I got the flu. So the flu's going around too.
Yeah.
Jim says my daughter gave a Rourke. What can you tell me about it? You're going to have to tell us a little bit more about what we're discussing here.
Yeah, well, what is it?
And Bassam says that with the sugarcane, he grows it in his yard. Yeah, it's here in Central Florida. Plant it in your yard. It grows it looks like bamboo is what it looks like when it's growing.
It does. In fact, the first couple of years that my neighbor would just put it at our doors, I'd be thinking, like, who put a stick of bamboo at my door? And then I realized, oh, this is Percy's sugarcane. But I don't think he's done it the past several years. So.
Yeah, Jim says that they have mule days in Calvert, Georgia earlier this month. They do cane grinding. So that's what it's called. You take the sugar cane, and if you want to do it the old-fashioned way, You grind it or press it, and they squeeze the molasses basically out of it. Then you boil off the water, and you end up with brown sugar. Then you purify it slightly, you end up with light brown sugar. And then if you really purify it, and I'm not sure exactly what they do, bleach it basically, that's when you end up with the good old-fashioned, overly processed white sugar that you get by the bag at the grocery store. So that's the highly processed version.
Yes, yes.
You can go to Spanish specialty stores, and Goya and other Spanish specialty food
Brands.
companies make,
Yeah.
it's like sugar, and it looks like a hockey puck is the best way to describe it. It's kind of round like a hockey puck, and it's brown sugar from the first press and processing.
First
So it's
rendering.
minimally processed,
Yeah.
and it tastes like sugar. It all tastes like sugar. It all tastes the same. It's just how processed do you want it to be. And we have a question about citrus trees here. So how big do you need citrus trees to be so you can stop covering them in the cold weather?
They can't be ever big enough.
All depends.
It depends on how the cold weather comes.
Mm-hmm. Depends on how cold that cold weather is, number one. Depends on what kind of citrus you have growing. Some types of citrus are very cold sensitive. Lemons and limes are two examples. They don't take an awful lot of cold. So if you have a young lime tree or a lemon tree, young trees don't take the cold as well either. So they're going to be the most susceptible to damage. What would be the most, there are varieties of citrus, Satsuma oranges, they grow them up in the panhandle.
And tangerines do. I mean, they've always done. At one time, many years ago, not to sound like Bernie, Monique, but Hernando County was the tangerine capital of the world. So, and there's still there's wild ones everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of people's yards. Yeah, the thing with citrus is not so much the cold to be worrying about them right now. It's that greening. Now, what is that variety that's coming out that doesn't get greening?
Sugar Bell.
Sugar Bell. Look for Sugar Bell.
Yes, Sugar Bell, and I believe it's a mandarin type orange, and it can be grown all the way up into the panhandle. Once it's a little bit older, it takes the cold very well. So little baby trees are going to be more sensitive to the cold than great big older trees that are 20 years old. Lemons and limes are the most freeze susceptible, or they're going to get damaged the most by cold.
Yeah.
Oranges are kind of middle. Grapefruits can take quite a bit of cold. And if it's a really old, if you're one of the very few people who still has a very old grapefruit tree, it's going to be probably very resistant to the cold.
If it's a small tree and you want to cover it, and by small I mean 8 feet or less.
Yeah.
Making a lollipop out of it is not going to accomplish anything. You don't want to just wrap up the foliage and leave the trunk bare. That will not accomplish anything. What we are trying to do when we are cold protecting any plant is harvesting the radiant temperature that the ground is as compared to what the air may be. We're never going to have permafrost here, in Florida. So even though it may be 19 degrees outside, that ground is probably going to be 48-ish or so. So what you're trying to do is
at the very, very surface, just an inch below, it stays perpetually 70-ish.
Wow.
The same temperature as spring water.
So what you're trying to do is capture that radiant heat from the ground. So creating a lollipop does nothing. When I'm cold, I wrap up because I create heat because I'm a mammal. A plant does not have that capacity. So you're borrowing the heat from the ground. So what you want to do is create an entire tent over the tree. If you have to touch the leaves, you have to. There's nothing you can really do about that, but you want to use cloth, never plastic. And you want to make sure that cloth reaches all the way to the ground and put some kind of weights around it to hold it there, to hold in that heat. It does not have to be 70 degrees in there. It has to be 33 degrees, in there. So that's what you do when you are trying to cold, protect citrus or anything else from the cold. One difference with citrus, though, is what, Bill, when it comes to cold protection, it's related to that ground heat. What you don't want to do is mulch it. You don't want to put a lot of mulch around your citrus. That is just the idea that, the university put out there, because they feel too much mulch around the citrus would not allow the ground heat to radiate.
True, that would block some of the warmth coming
Mhm.
up.
But somehow that does not pertain to your more sensitive landscape plants.
Generally, with most of your landscape plants, and this all depends on what your goal is with your landscape. Keep in mind, if you're putting in a bunch of tropical plants in Central Florida, and tropical fruits and things that are very cold sensitive, it's going to be a lot of work during the winter if we have a lot of cold weather during that winter.
Right.
Some years we get very little, other years we get a lot of cold weather. So know that up front, it's going to be extra work. If you don't want to do that work, find plants that are well adapted to your exact location. You can't even go by Central Florida, because Ocala, you can grow certain things. Pinellas County, you can grow other things. Here in Hernando, you can grow other things. So even just a little bit north or south makes a difference.
Pinellas is going to get away with those lemon and lime trees.
Yeah, Pinellas, lemons and limes should not be a big issue down there. Cardboard palms, they grow a lot of down there, and they do great. Here, you don't see many because they tend to freeze.
You just get some Coontie.
Coontie looks very, very similar. Not exactly the same, a little bit different.
It has thinner. Cardboard palms have the thicker, wider, flatter kind of leaves. But your Coontie is native anyway, and it's going to do just fine up here. Yeah, the Myers lemon, Horseshoe Beach. Myers lemon is actually an orange, a sour orange. So if you want something resembling lemons, even up here in Hernando County, then go for your Myers lemon, Although I don't know how they're doing with the greening.
They get greening. Every type of citrus gets greening. Lemons, limes, oranges, grapefruit. No, not much difference. And I love Myers lemons. Yeah. I have a Myers lemon tree in my backyard that's doing very well. And it's not even chest high at this point. If I have to cover it, I can do so very easily.
If it's really itty bitty, then you can even create a, like something that you put the cloth over that isn't actually touching the plant too, because that is the best scenario. But
yeah, you can make either a little square or a teepee with PVC or whatever material, bamboo, whatever materials you have. Put the cloth over it to make a little structure for the plant.
Just as long as that cloth reaches all the way to the ground.
And going back to sugarcane, yes, sugarcane does grow crazy like bamboo here. It doesn't spread underground, so it's not like running bamboo. It's not going to spread into your neighbor's yard and up and down the street like certain types of bamboo does, but it grows very well during the summer. It likes it hot and steamy. And Jenny says, "Oh, hey, stop that!
I'm not touching it. You're fighting.
You were clicking on it. You're trying to confuse me this morning. You knew that I was confused.
I'll keep my hands up here so you can see them.
Yeah, I was confused when I flew in here this morning.
Yeah.
So Jenny says sorghum syrup. I grew up with it, and she loves the candy that forms around the edges after cooking. Us kids rolled it up on sticks for candy. Sorghum is another plant that you can, and I'm no expert on exactly how to process it, but you can get the syrup out of it.
Hmm.
Can you buy that at a store? Is it?
I think so. Yeah.
I'm sure you can order on Amazon. Everything's
I
on
think you
Amazon.
can buy sorghum syrup in most stores.
Yeah. So sorghum syrup is another
Maybe in the international aisle or something, but I'm pretty sure you can get it.
yeah. And that would be all natural. I mean, depending on how processed it is, it's taken
Hmm.
from a plant. Too much sugar of any form isn't technically good for you. We should all work towards limiting our sugar intake. So that's the health tip for today.
Especially white sugar.
Exactly. And Bassem mentions another plant here. I don't know if we've ever really talked about before or not. Finger limes. And he asked, can I grow finger lime from a seed? And if so, how long will it take to fruit? Number one, finger lime is a fruit tree that is in the same plant family as citrus. So it's a citrus relative, and it does not get greening. Maybe technically it gets greening, but it does not suffer any symptoms or sickness or damage from having greening. Finger limes are kind of they're about this long, maybe 2 inches long, and they're kind of football to oblong shaped a little bit like a torpedo slash
Or
football.
like a kumquat.
Yes, very similar to a kumquat. And when you cut them open, they have the little gosh, what's the term for the little juice-filled sacs around the seeds?
That sounds pretty good to me.
Asperitium or something. I'm sorry, I flew in here this morning. I'm not
The
up on mine.
citrusy looking, it looks like citrus is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yes.
they got little juice
Sections.
balls technically inside of the fruit.
Yeah.
And the fruit is really the few people who are growing it, there's huge demand for that fruit at really, really high-end restaurants. It's one of the newest gourmet items.
Hmm.
And you'll pay an arm and a leg for them. But you can grow them in your own backyard, right here in Florida. I even looked up where to buy them, and there's a nursery in the Panhandle that they'll ship them to you. It's like $60 a tree, but I'm going to get one. They have thorns. It's a very, very thorny, small, conical shaped tree.
So is it not grafted to anything then? It's kind of just a
I'm not
natural,
sure.
a natural tree.
I would assume that you could graft it, but it does not have to be grafted. And you can buy them. Just look online. Look up, if you want more information, look up finger limes. University of Florida has a whole website on finger limes because it's a new potential economic crop here in Florida. And there are some people who are getting into growing them commercially. It doesn't take, if you buy an existing tree, it doesn't take that long for it to start flowering and getting fruit, maybe a year or 2 or 3. But from a seed, that is probably going to take a long time. Every fruit tree, if you start from a seed, sprouts, starts to grow, and it goes through what's called a juvenile period, which can range anywhere from a couple years up to 10 years. And then the tree goes through biological and biochemical changes and knows, like, boom, I just passed my, let's say, 10th birthday. I'm old enough to start making flowers and fruits and everything else. And on some plants, the shape of the leaves will change and the growth will even look a little bit different. And it will get to the point where it can now flower and set fruit. That's
And
why
you have to have the talk with the tree at that point. Is that what happens?
Yeah. You have to have a long talk with the tree. And there are people
There'll
down.
be changes happening to your structure.
You're going through biochemical changes. Don't worry. You're going to start flowering. And now you're
some
old
of them,
enough.
especially if you buy them commercial, they'll start flowering and fruiting when they're itty bitty, and you want to take those off because the energy of the tree needs to concentrate on being a good, strong tree for probably 7 years at least, or maybe even 10, like you said.
A lot of time. Well,
Well, from seed. Now, if you're getting it this
From
big, it might
seed,
already
yeah.
be several years old. So,
If it's grafted, the upper part, that graft, comes from an already mature tree that's already outgrown its juvenile period.
mm,
So it can start flowering and fruiting within just 2 or 3 years. But we recommend that if you go to the store right now and buy, let's say, an orange tree. And it has, everybody loves to buy the orange trees that have little flowers on them and little tiny oranges, or maybe even a medium-sized orange. You're like, oh, this is great. I'm going to plant it in my backyard, and in a couple weeks, I'm going to be picking this beautiful orange. Not going to happen, because the tree has to get established first. It has to put all of its time and thought and energy into spreading its roots, getting established.
well,
So
just
we
like
tell people,
humans can reproduce way earlier than they should reproduce. So that,
yeah, yeah,
think of citrus trees the same way. Let them grow up into a big, strong tree before they start that process.
exactly. So let's see, we've already covered the health tip of the day and the life lessons. Okay, the other topic that we haven't gotten to yet that we
No,
have
we
to
haven't.
before the end.
No, we haven't.
Don't
But you
say
and
it.
I,
Don't say it. We'll let one of
okay,
our
I won't. But you and I brought it up yesterday, and you said I wasn't allowed to talk about it until at the plant clinic. I don't even remember why we brought that topic up yesterday.
it just always comes up for some reason. It's tradition now. But getting all the way back, let's circle all the way back and tie it all together with finger limes. I'm going to order a tree and put it in my backyard. It's supposed to taste really good, and University of Florida has developed a variety or two that have names that you can order and buy. So Bassem, look online, look up University of Florida finger limes, and they have a whole website dedicated to just this topic with a lot of information, varieties, which one's going to do well here. It grows into a small tree, kind of upright shaped, lots of branches. They're very branchy, and the branches have huge thorns on them. Be very careful and be aware it's going to have thorns. And if you want to try growing it from a seed, that's great, but it may take a number of years for it to get big enough where it's going to be able to flower and get fruit and everything. But if you start a whole bunch of them now from seeds, somewhere down the road, you're going to have a whole bunch of them flowering and giving you finger limes, and
And then
you may be the happy guy.
he can create gourmet dishes with finger limes and sugar cane.
Good thought, good
Yeah.
tie. And you can grow an acre of sorghum, and we'd be all set here. Okay, guys, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to go ahead and throw them in the chat here. And
we can go over these questions you had on your Facebook page.
Sure, we can. And we can annoy everybody with a little scrolling notification at the very bottom here. And if you're new to the virtual plant clinic and you're wondering, what the heck is that moving on my screen? I'm getting dizzy. That is our freestanding webpage, www.hernandoextension.com. That if you go to it, is going to have a list of all of our upcoming classes. All of our future virtual plant clinics are there with the current links. If you want to watch us on YouTube, you can. You want to watch us on our Facebook page, you can. If you want to watch us through our Facebook group, you can do that too. And Lily even has 2 questions, I think, from that Facebook group.
I do.
That we'll go ahead and try to answer right now.
I can't really show you the picture, but it's like a ZZ house plant.
Mm-hmm.
And what does it mean when a house plant soil is white on top? Just got this one under a month ago and repotted it with potting soil. I have been using along with its original soil. Soil is moist, but not terribly. It's in front of a window all day. There's the.
Very good. I can see it. Hey, yeah. Wow. We're really working the technology here today, aren't we? Yes, that could be one of 2 possible things. And I can't say for sure which one it is because I'm not there to look at it. If she takes more pictures or looks closer, we can narrow it down to what the issue is. Number one, a lot of potting soils contain something called perlite. And perlite is a natural mineral. It's a rock that they heat it up and it pops like popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
And perlite is very light, doesn't weigh a whole lot. It holds a lot of water temporarily and then gives the water back to the tree. It's a really good ingredient in potting soil. It does a lot of good things in a pot. So those little white balls could be
no, that's not what it is. It looks more like a film on top to me.
Okay, if it's a white film on top that you see on a house plant or any potted plant, over time, when either you or the store you bought it from fertilized it, it still looks like little balls to me as opposed to a film.
Okay, well.
That looks like chunks.
No, it's not.
I'm not going to argue. Looks like chunks to me.
No, it's not perlite, I don't think.
Might be perlite. It looks like chunks to me. So if anybody else wants to chirp in. So if it's individual chunks, it could be perlite. You could pick it up and perlite looks and feels an awful lot like styrofoam.
Mm-hmm.
Little tiny pieces of styrofoam. The other thing it could be is if either you or the store that you bought the plant from fertilized it, over time the fertilizer will float to the surface and become a whitish either film or crust on it. And that's called salt deposits. Mm-hmm. Because fertilizers are technically made up of fertilizer salts. If anybody watching us used to live in New Mexico, the soil out there has a lot of that issue because New Mexico is generally bone dry. Any of the nutrients or fertilizer ions or things in the soil out there naturally float to the surface and form a surface crust.
Is that where the salt flats are?
Yes, you have salt flats out there, and out in New Mexico, it's actual salt. Here, when we say salt, it's some kind of fertilizer ions. Out there, it's actual salt. Or gypsum. There's other things in their soil out there. And the highest that our soil pH can ever get here in Florida is 8.5, because that's the pH of lime. Mm-hmm. Lime is made up of calcium carbonate. Certain types of lime might have magnesium thrown in also. Calcium carbonate, the pH of it is 8.5. Out west, pH can be as high as 10. Hmm. So if you ever see a pH higher than 8.5, it's because of salts, not just calcium carbonate making it real high. So now we've covered soil trivia here also. I think we're hitting one, too. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're still missing one.
I do have a question, though, when you mentioned the lime and the carbon.
Calcium carbonate.
Calcium carbonate. Do you think maybe it could be the tap water, which is watering with?
Possibly, and that will add to it. Hard water is hard because it contains certain nutrient ions that every time you water, you're adding it to it. But what does it is either hard water, fertilizer, whatever, is being added to the soil in the pot, and it goes a little bit below the surface and then is pulled back up to the surface through evaporation and forms on the surface. If you want to get rid of it or fix that problem, water the heck out of the plant and wash that stuff through the soil and out the drain holes and flush it. And you can, with any potted plant, flush the heck out of it. And you're going to do it for a number of minutes. You can flush it and then leave it alone, let it dry. It's going to be fine. Just if you overwater it every day, day after day for weeks, it's going to die. If you overwater it for 10 minutes to flush the salts out, it's going to dry out. The soil's going to drain. You're going to get to field capacity. That's the amount of water that soil will hold after gravity has pushed it out.
Mhm.
And your plant's going to be fine. Your plant won't drown from that. But with house plants, a lot of times you have to do that whenever you get that white film.
Okay, we have a question from Ann Lee about staghorn ferns.
Okay.
See, I'm not touching it. There you go.
So Ann Lee, good morning, Ann. Ann is either new, she's either a new viewer or maybe she's a virtual plant clinic stalker and has just never asked a question before. But she asked, staghorn ferns are sold inside Lowe's and Home Depot. Where will this plant do best? I have a mobile home patio. Would this be a better place? Thank you. People grow them outside.
Yeah. No, they're ones that you have to protect from the cold. And then they get humongous, and then that gets difficult. People put blankets on them, hanging from trees. I'm not sure how much good that does. I think just being under the tree, they have some protection.
Yeah, trees, especially like an oak tree, something with a fairly thick canopy, provides a lot of cold protection on a cold night. Because and if you have a large oak tree in your yard and we have a really, really cold night, you can walk out the next day and you might have frost on the grass, except for a circle under the tree. Or your grass may turn tan or brown, except for a circle under the tree where it's green. Because the warmth out of the soil is being released and it's all going up in the atmosphere. And now it's not keeping the grass warm anymore. But under the tree acts as a lid on that and keeps everything under it a little bit warmer, relatively warmer.
In general, though, you do want your staghorn ferns to be outside. Inside in our air-conditioned houses, I don't think they're going to be happy. They want the humidity from outside. It's just when we're going to get a frost or a freeze, drag it in if you can. Put it on a wagon.
If it's too big to do that, it's okay to leave it outside.
They might freeze, though.
I see damage to them.
I'm
not sure if I've ever seen.
I've lost one or two when I've decided, oh, I'm done dragging things in. So,
once again, that comes down to how big and how old they are. There are people who have staghorn ferns that are 10, 20 years old.
Sure, and if they have so much foliage, then yeah, the outer edges might die, but you're right, the inside of it is going to be protected.
Yeah, so generally they're going to do best outside. You put them in the special container, the little rack pot with the chains, and you hang it underneath an oak tree branch or whatever kind of tree that you have outside. And they're very low maintenance, very carefree.
Sure.
I know the one little tip, they like regular potassium. People will take a
banana
banana
I used to put banana peels right inside of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just go outside, eat a banana, chuck the banana peel up there. That way you don't have to throw it over the fence in your neighbor's yard. And Cindy, thank you so much for reminding me. I might have forgotten that, but we will not be here next week. We will be celebrating Thanksgiving. So we would like to wish all of you a very, very happy and safe Thanksgiving. Hopefully the weather will be beautiful. I know I always look forward to my couple days off of work, getting a lot of work done in my garden, because usually it's a very nice time of year, not too hot, not too cold. So
you'll be cooking. You have family coming over.
No, I'll be happy with it. I'll be helping with the cooking, and then when family gets there, I'll be out in the yard. Hope my wife isn't watching this morning.
Our house arrest will be over by then, assuming we continue to be well, and we plan on being with a lot of family in a huge cabin in Tennessee. So.
Yes, and we will be back the week after Thanksgiving, because I will be here and I will actually have free time on my schedule. Hopefully I'll be caught up on things, paperwork, questions, emails, you name it, I got it. So Ann does point out That's correct. Don't assume that just because it's sold inside the store, it should remain inside. So, and she even threw in, where did these people get these emojis from? Where do you get the banana emoji from?
Yes, my mother would do that, and I did that when I had staghorn ferns. You just, put a nice banana peel like every few weeks, just right in, inside where it's soil. It'll dissolve in there and be very happy.
Yeah, and then stuffing a couple handfuls of compost up there.
Oh,
The container over time, when the leaves fall, let it catch the leaves, let the leaves decompose in it. It's all good. It's all good organic matter. That's all going to help build up the soil that it has in the hanging container, and it's going to benefit it over time.
yep.
So,
what was the other question?
trying to get a head start.
Avocado. I have the other question as an avocado question. My avocado tree has me worried. It was looking fantastic prior to Ian. It is located in Volusia, east of 95. But that means it's right on the coast, huh? But after
Yeah, very close to it.
But after Ian, it dropped almost all leaves, which is pretty normal. That's like a self-preserving behavior during a storm. And now after Nicole, she has limbs turning black. There are buds at the tips of most branches. Is it in shock?
Probably, depending on exactly how much high wind it got, depending on exactly where in your yard it's located, where your yard is located. Did anything block the wind? Did it get, are you right on a canal and it's got 5 miles of open space for the wind to really get going and then blast your tree? Oh, we're back with the technology here.
See, I guess that's the black. And there's some more on the ground.
Yeah.
They're taking them off.
Anything that's been storm damaged, be patient and wait.
Yeah.
Don't do anything. Don't take any drastic action. It's not like you have to prune it or fix it or do anything right away. If it has buds, it's going to do its thing to come back. One thing that you may want to do is just hit it with a fungicide, because getting blasted with rain and then all that extra moisture is not good for any plant. So hit it with a fungicide, and after that, just wait, be patient. A lot of times, if anybody has any larger trees that were damaged, had leaves blown off at the wrong time of year, whatever it might be, it may take a year for you to see the effects, the full effects of something like a hurricane or a storm or severe wind damage.
Losing leaves is, as I said, a lot of trees ways of self-preserving. They'll tell the hurricane, okay, take my leaves. I don't care, because then it has less, it flows better in the wind without the leaves fighting it. And any tree that drops its leaf, even unstorm related, means that the tree is fighting. It may be sick, but it's fighting. A tree that suddenly becomes sick and does not drop its leaves and the leaves just droop, that's a far worse sign than a tree that loses its leaves or gives up its leaves.
Yeah.
It means I'm going to put all my energy back into my core and let all that extraneous stuff go until I am ready to leaf out again. And there's a life lesson that all of us should learn.
Okay, we knocked out life lessons also, so I think we're hitting all the high points here.
Too stressed, just let go of the extra stuff and concentrate on your core, so your energy so you can bloom again.
Perfect advice. I think that one's answered. Boom, check that one off.
What we can learn from nature.
And look, you just amazed Monique. So I guess Monique is going to continue tuning in to the virtual plant clinic / life coach, life lessons coaching. So Bassem says, happy Thanksgiving to both of you, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and answering your questions. Thank you so much for tuning in every week. And if you guys weren't here, we probably wouldn't be here either. Oh no, we would have been here for a while, just kind of getting lonely, rambling on. But
oh, look, Lisa, who was the avocado question.
okay, great, Lisa, who asked that avocado question. She said, "Thank
Good,
you so
now
much."
You don't have to answer her on the.
Okay.
On
Now, Lily, you know that this episode gets saved as a podcast also.
yeah.
So for any potential podcast listeners we have, I try to repeat the question so that they know what we're discussing here. So
Yes, Lisa says that she was the one who put the avocado question on your Facebook page. Thank you so much. It is not protected. She'll hit everything with the fungicide.
yeah, hitting with the fungicide doesn't hurt and might help.
Yes.
And for anybody with any kind of palm tree, oak tree, sweet gum tree, maple tree, pine tree, cedar, whatever it might be, if it suffered any kind of direct storm damage, be patient and leave it be. You're not going to be able to evaluate the full effects for a while.
Palms as well.
Sure, and palms might have gotten fronds blown off, broken, bent, whatever. It's really best just to leave it be for a while to see
if you have a tree that is kind of small and kind of small and young and it just got blown over, they say to put it back up and replant it as soon as possible. And it may be just fine. Now if it's a 40-year-old tree that takes up half the sidewalk with it, there's probably not any saving.
Yeah.
See, yes, Monique's trying to shed some weight for the same reason. I think she means emotional weight. Let go of those leaves, Monique.
She's here partly for the life coaching, I guess.
Yes. It's fall. It's time to let go.
Let go of the leaves and everything. And yeah, before somebody else emails me that all the turkey oak trees in your neighborhood are dying because the leaves are falling off, it's deciduous. It's normal for certain trees to drop their leaves in the fall. Other trees do not drop their leaves in the fall.
Correct.
So
yes,
sweet gums are dropping their leaves, and turkey oaks.
And sycamores, if you happen to have any sycamores.
Sycamores.
Yes.
Magnolias drop a few leaves during the year. So all year long, they're dropping a few leaves.
There's a magnolia leaf at my front door. I keep looking at it. Haven't had the energy to do anything about it. But I just look at it and think, well, where did you come from? I'm not even quite sure. I got to follow it back to its mother or something. I have a little baby magnolia that I found in the lot next door that we bought. But that leaf is not from that. But I don't know. Somewhere around here, there's a magnolia tree.
Yeah, and any of you guys who have the golden rain trees.
I'm sorry?
Anybody who has a golden rain tree? I saw a picture.
Gosh, they're gorgeous right now, aren't they?
I saw a picture on Facebook, and it was of a individual golden rain tree flower in somebody's driveway. They're like, what is this? It's a golden rain tree flower. And if you open it up, there's 2 seeds inside of it. 2 seeds inside of every one that blows into your yard. And all those seeds will sprout. And they're going to pop up all over your flower beds, all over your lawn, cracks in the sidewalk, up against your house, wherever it may be. And now you have a whole bunch of little golden rain trees to pull up. And that's why they're so invasive.
That, and they get in, not just in your yard, they'll get in the natural areas. They'll grow 50 billion golden rain trees, displacing the native, fauna that should be there. And then the native critters who depend on the native plants, they don't, some of them can adapt, but not all of them. And it just disrupts the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, and Jenny says that she has one. She loves it, but she hates the mess and the sprouts.
Yes.
It's a
Yeah,
very
when I
twiggy
was
tree. They'll
driving
make a mess.
around last week before I was under house arrest early in the week, when I was driving around, I was thinking, I can understand where maybe, it's hard to tell people to get rid of these invasive exotics, if they don't understand the process of how it can be ultimately harmful for the environment, because it's so beautiful in their yard, and maybe it's the only thing bringing them joy is their beautiful golden rain tree. So it becomes difficult to convince people of that, especially this time of year. But down the line, it's humans who've messed everything up.
Yeah, and people don't realize that every plant, whether it's native or invasive or whatever it might be, it's got good points and it probably has bad points also. So even terribly invasive plants, maybe they flower. When they flower, maybe they look pretty. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they get a pretty color flower or whatever it might be. All of them have I can think up a good point for pretty much any invasive plant.
Sure, and that's why I have on Hernando County Government YouTube, one of my classes is called Pretty Darn Invasive Plants. Yeah, they're pretty, but they're pretty darn invasive too. Linda has a question about Myers and pink lemon.
Okay, well, I'm going in circles at the moment, putting something in the chat box.
Okay. You're going in circles? Oh, all right.
Okay, I put something in the chat box, which is a link to a very, very short, very painless survey that we have. And we really appreciate it if you can take a moment and click on that and answer the couple questions. If you're watching this as a recording, whether it be Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and it's not live anymore, look through the comments in the chat there and go ahead and click on the link. You can take it also. And we really appreciate everybody that can take that very short, very painless survey. If you've already taken it once
like
before,
having to rate the waiting staff every time you're at the restaurant.
yeah, this isn't.
5-star, 5-star.
Yeah, what are the services for restaurants? For rating restaurants?
What do you mean? Yeah, it's just that thing on the table. If you happen to pay that way, they have you do the survey.
Yeah, think of it as like you're rating your staff here. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, then we should behave. Do you see you have a question?
I haven't done too well today. So.
There.
Okay, I was just about to click on it. You beat me to it. So Lisa says, Myers and pink lemon tree need to be cleaned up branch-wise. Best time to do this. Now is a good time. During winter, really technically, citrus doesn't need a lot of pruning. You can prune it, but it doesn't need a lot of pruning. If it's gotten way too thick in the center, too branchy, you can selectively remove a few branches. Obviously, any dead branches you have, you can take that dead branch off any time of year. Cracked or broken or crossing, rubbing branches, you can take off one of them at any time of the year. So sure, now is probably a fine time for the light pruning of citrus, because it's not going to be actively growing much right now. So.
Crepe myrtles are the other deciduous trees that we have. They're holding their leaves now, and if we're lucky, some of them even get like fall looking, but around Christmas, with nice colors, and then they'll lose their leaves for a little while. And what always happens is mine starts to bud, and then we have a freeze, and those buds freeze, and then a second round comes along. So.
And going back to the golden rain tree, Jenny says this one was here when they moved here, and my husband wouldn't let me cut it, but now it is huge and would cost a fortune to remove now, but she'd love to have it gone.
I'm going to read Jenny's mind. Jenny, I'm looking into your life, and I'm feeling like in the spring. I'm feeling spring, and I'm seeing some red and black bugs all over your entire yard. This is what I'm seeing in my crystal ball.
Like black bugs that look like they have a little bit of a red shoulder, maybe?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm seeing.
Chidera bugs.
Jadera bugs. They are there. I know you have them. They're eating the seeds of your golden rain tree, and they come by the thousands. So now, if she's never had them and has them this spring, she's gonna blame me. But
No, if you have a golden rain tree, you're going to have Jadera bugs. And if your neighbors, if your neighbors have them,
I guess she does have them.
yep.
She says, "Honey, they are ridiculous."
And you don't have to spray for Jadera bugs. You don't have to do anything. I know the thought or sight of 6 million little black and red bugs on the wall of your garage or house or something like that might frighten you. They're not going to hurt you. They're not going to hurt your house. They are there to eat the seeds.
And tell your husband there's one way to get rid of them.
Yeah. So technically what they're doing is beneficial. There's a whole family of insects in the order Hemiptera, which is true bugs that feed on seeds. And Jadera bug is the one that feeds on the seeds of the golden rain tree. There's lots of other ones that feed on other seeds. So they're harmless. They're not going to hurt anybody or anything. They don't eat your plants.
One
They don't
good
bite your
pruning,
kids.
one good pruning cut would get rid of those bugs.
The big pruning cut.
The big
Down the
pruning
bottom.
cut, the bottom of the tree. You see, Cindy wants to know how to make a Christmas cactus bloom at Christmas. I think it just does it.
It doesn't. It has to do with day length. It
Well, don't
helps.
tell them that. It's magic, Bill. The plant knows that it's Christmas.
Sure, the plant knows because of the number of hours of day and night.
Yes,
So
because of the winter. What do they call it? The winter solstice? Is that the right word?
yeah,
Or
well,
the
just
worm?
the shorter days.
Yes, and right around Christmas, that's happening when we have the shortest amount of daylight. Right after Christmas, it starts getting a little bit lighter again. That's what the plant is reacting to. That's just happens to be when it blooms. I don't know anyone who ever had to make it happen. I think it just usually happens.
One thing that helps is, and this goes for poinsettias also, if you have a plant where it doesn't get lights at night, that helps. Because if you have your Christmas cactus in a pot sitting outside underneath your street light or a light front edge of your garage or something, it's getting light all night long, that may throw it off. They don't know for sure how big of an effect that has. And normally just a street light out front isn't enough light to really trigger the plant and confuse it.
But in the greenhouses, they will keep it pitch black all night for those
Sure,
plants.
they can go between bright light and pitch black. So putting it in a spot where it's not getting a lot of light at night, is sitting in the dark at night,
Yeah, if
helps
it's
trigger
hanging
it.
on your porch and you keep your porch light on all night, that might interfere with its natural processes. So
And
maybe
keep in mind, with Christmas cactus, there's there's a Thanksgiving cactus, a
Mhm.
true Christmas cactus, and an Easter cactus. And they all the leaves, the petals,
Mhm.
the cactus leaf is
Pads.
shaped slightly differently. And you can look online, there's lots of diagrams to figure out what you have. So not every Christmas cactus is a true Christmas cactus that's designed to bloom on Christmas Day. They might go a little bit earlier, a little bit later.
Mhm.
They generally go around Christmas, but they can't read a calendar. So
No, but they do read the daylight hours for sure. But it has to get filtered light during the day, doesn't it? Don't they? You don't want bright light on
yeah,
them.
filtered light during the day. And it really helps if you
So
put it somewhere where it's not getting rained on.
porches are great for that, but
Yep.
you have to weigh out whether or not you want your porch light on where the Christmas cactus is, you know, and that might help it decide to bloom a little sooner or
Yep.
about when you want it to. So, or put it in a bin overnight and take it out again.
Go out there and cover it every night and then uncover it in the morning. That sounds like a lot of work to me, but
Yeah.
okay, guys, it looks like, I think we're even showing good time management today. It's that time.
You are just hopping from one virtual meeting to another. Imagine if you had to drive to all these different meetings in different places.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But now I have to sit here and talk for hours on end behind my computer, and it's
It doesn't look like it's that hard for you to do that.
it's not bad. Ramble all day long if you want me to. So very quickly, if anybody needs to get any further information, you have a question, shoot me an email. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
We will not
Sometimes
be here
that's not immediately. Sorry, but I'll get back to you.
Everyone have a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much white sugar.
And if you have family over and you really don't want to spend time with them, just go to YouTube and look up Hernando County Government. They have a YouTube channel. On their YouTube channel, they have playlists. Lily has one for Florida Friendly Landscaping, and she has almost, did you hit 100 yet?
I'm getting real close. I think there's like 97.
So she has about 97 hours worth of learning for you to watch. And after 97 hours, if the family ain't gone yet, they need to get in the car and go. So that's something you do. You say, sorry, guys, I can't argue with you. I'm busy learning from Lily. And I have a playlist on there also with not quite as many videos, but we're adding more all the time. We have classes on vegetable gardening, different various crops. So check it out when you get a chance. Over the holidays, a great time to do that.
And we just have scheduled for February. If anyone is watching who lives on the east side of our county, I got a request from the library supervisor over there that we do, we start trying to have some classes over there. So what I have arranged is February 17th, which is a Friday. You are going to present a spring vegetable gardening class, and Carmen Bruno will be there with free compost bins, also doing the compost workshop and how the two can work together. No rain barrels at that one, just compost bins and vegetable gardening. You do have to be Hernando County resident to get a compost bin. If you live in Spring Hill, we have lots of other opportunities for you to get a compost bin. You don't have to drive the 20 some miles across the county, but you can.
It's not that far.
You can if you want to. And anyone is invited, to both portions. It's just that only Hernando County residents get to take the compost bin home. And that's the 17th. You can find out about it on my Facebook page, but also email me. Bill, could you show my email? And that's how you sign up for that.
Sorry, I'm reading my emails.
That's how you sign up for that particular class. But we have other classes going on all the time. We're going to have a rain barrel and compost workshop at the Hernando County Master Gardener Nursery on December 7th. It's looking like January 21st. We're going to have one at a local environmentally sensitive land the same day that Bill will be having a tree giveaway. So there'll be lots of fun things to do that day, January 21st, which is a Saturday. So definitely, if you go to my Facebook page, which is Hernando FFL, look under events, all kinds of great things coming up.
Or you can just go to our Facebook page, just a good way to keep on top of what we have going on. And as always, you can always go to www.hernandoextension, all one word.com, and find out about all of our upcoming classes, events, compost bin, handouts, everything. It's all there.
When we come back, which is what, the 31st or something like that, I will continue Bill's story. You know, we'll talk more about some holiday plants when we were talking about Christmas cactuses, and he mentioned poinsettias and how they say they need dark at night. I have a story about poinsettias that I'll share with you, but you have to come back to our next virtual plant clinic.
Ooh, okay. See, that's a motivation there for
Yes.
everybody.
Stay
Okay,
tuned.
guys, I think we're going to wrap it up for the day because I have my next class to go to in a bit.
You're a busy man.
3, literally back to back. So I'll get lunch. I'll get lunch later. I may not even come back from lunch. So, okay, I don't see any last minute questions. So as always, thank you so much. Everybody have a really wonderful and blessed and safe Thanksgiving. And hopefully we'll see all of you back here again the week after Thanksgiving, because we won't be here next Thursday on Thanksgiving.
Correct.
We'll be spending time with family, and I'll be watching Lily's videos, I guess, or working my vegetable garden. So on that note, thanks again, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.